Welcome back, Storytellers. My name is Khalil Roberson, an experienced Dungeon Master, here to help you pursue your fantasy. And in today's Monstrous creation, we're going to be talking about a different type of monster type that I'm creating, called the Cursed. The entire point of the Cursed is these creatures have a curse that forces them to constantly be brought back to life. And with this curse, even if your players were to kill these creatures, they will come back to life a few levels later, even stronger and stronger and stronger, until the point where your players have to find a new solution to solving this issue. Now, the only way to release them is to free them from their curse, which is tied to their backstory in some sort of way. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about Giggles Beth, the Laughing Bard. Let's get into it. Giggles Beth is a bard that was born in a small town. She didn't really have a great life, but she always had a knack for comedy and just bringing joy and happiness to other people's lives. She would constantly go and make comedy skits in order to bring up the overall cheer and morale of all the farmers. And she personally wanted to make these people in their really dark times because they're in the middle of a war, make them even more happier. So Giggles Beth actually left her farm town in order to go out and find new jokes and new experiences. That way she can bring them back home to her family and make them laugh and be much more happier. As Giggles Beth went out, she did amazing adventures, fought in wars, killed dragons, did the whole nine, and came back as a very powerful bard. And as she came back full of just all these comedic skits, ready to give back to her family, she comes in order to find out that they've all been destroyed by a dragon. And Giggles Beth just weeps in absolute agony, and in her last weeps, she winds up hearing this soft voice speak to her, saying that, "I am the Lady of Blessings. I can give you what you wish, what you desire, but it will come with a cost." Giggles Beth looks over and says, tears streaming down her face, "I just want my family back. I just want to make them laugh. I just want to give them jokes to have." And the Lady of Blessings says, "I can do that for you." And that is what she did. This creature had brought back her entire family, and Giggles Beth was able to make them all laugh and telling them jokes constantly. But what Giggles Beth didn't realize was happening was, each time she was telling them a joke and each time they would just laugh hysterically, they were slowly changing, becoming different, becoming something weirder. They slowly started to lose their facial expressions aside for their smiles, started to lose their limbs, started to become these small ball-like creatures, almost like beholders, but not quite. Some of them actually went out in order to gather more and more people and brought them to Beth, in which Beth would tell them her comedy skits, and she was happy, even though, they were all looking weird and different. It's whatever. All her family, everyone's just back, and she's so excited about it. But then she started to notice something weird. As they started turning into these ball-like creatures, the creatures started sprouting out tiny arms. They had a lot of arms, and thousands of arms, and they started growing into these grotesque beings with these gigantic smiles and many road teeth. And at some point, just a few of them, the closest ones to her that listened to the most of her jokes, actually had smiles on their teeth. And each of their teeth had faces, and those faces would start to have faces, and so on and so forth, until it looked like an endless mirror of smiles on each tooth. And Giggles Beth started to get really creeped out and weirded out by this. And all the people started to worship her as if she was some sort of god. And Giggles Beth just didn't understand. She didn't understand what was going on. Then a group of adventurers came, hearing the plight of all these people being forced to be subjected into these monsters, and fought Giggles Beth. And the entire time, Giggles Beth is like, no, I'm trying to make them laugh. But her family, all the villagers, they wouldn't let these people take away their only source of happiness. And they fought these adventurers tooth and nail, to the point where finally Giggles Beth came out and told them all to stop. And the adventurers, taking this one little reprieve to make sure they could take down the villain, decided to slay Giggles Beth. But Giggles Beth still lives on. The Lady of Blessings still takes her and rises her once again, bringing her to small villages and small farm towns, making her spread her comedy, turning all these creatures into grotesque beings. That way, they can start to gather more and more, until it gets to a point where there are so many of these creatures and it's becoming such a problem, the local cities have to hire adventurers to go back and slay Giggles Beth. And so the cycle continues forever and ever. The only way to free Giggles Beth is to make her smile and laugh. Well, that's Giggles Beth, guys. Now, Giggles Beth is a little dark, a little crazy, but I wanted to use her as a nice intro into the cursed monster type section. So, what I'm going to be doing is in the description below, I'm going to be leaving a link to her stat blocks. Now, I'm going to leave a stat blocks at her at 3 different tiers, and the entire point of it is The entire point of it is each time your players defeat her, she's going to go up into a different tier and a different tier until the players finally lift off her curse. On top of that, I'm going to be leaving some sample stat blocks of the various different creatures that she has surrounding herself with, all the people that she's infected with all of her comedy. So, I hope you guys enjoy Giggles, Beth and can terrorize your players with a little bit of comedy. But I want to leave a quest of the video. So, in the comments down below, answer this question. How would you change lifting of Giggles Beth's curse? That's all I got for you today. In a world without fantasy, sometimes we need little Dungeons and Dragons. For all of you guys who stuck around to watch till the end, and for those of you guys who actually like to get an update on my farming and how I'm going about that stuff, I'm going to give you guys a little quick update. First off, this is my male quail. He's about, oh my gosh, relax guy, you're fine. He's about 7-8 weeks old right now. I have 2 females in there as well, and for some of you guys who are a little perceptive, I did have 4 in there beforehand, but one of them, I had 2 males at one point, so one of them had to be a little retired because I couldn't have 2 males and only 2 females. So that's an update on the birds, which, look at this guy, he's so gorgeous. But anyways, so that's the birds. Here's the female. And here's my much more feistier female. Now, I did clip all their wings because I don't want them flying around everywhere. And I have this whole system right now because I'm currently in the process of waiting for the lid to come in. And it's just going to be a graded lid to put on top of it so they can't fly out. But for the time being, I'm just putting these boxes just to keep them from flying out. So, that's the birds. Alright, so this is the garden. Now, these buckets right here that you see, this is from my actual second garden that I had. Right here, we got some potatoes that are growing, which they're growing really well. They got a little bit of slug damage, if you can see it right there. So, I'm going to be finding solutions in order to keep slugs off my potato leaves. Got some beautiful rainbow carrots right here growing. Another potato. That's just a pile of dirt. Over here, which actually, I don't know if you guys know this, but the square foot gardening method operates off of having these 4x4 beds. And the basic premise is you take all the spacing of each of these beds and you basically plant things at that spacing. And it allows for you to get a much more controlled environment and a controlled spacing so you can grow a lot more food in here. For example, I have 1 watermelon growing right here. It's a sugar baby, which is going to be phenomenal because they're much smaller, they're much sweeter watermelons. But around the sugar baby, just planted it around it because the sugar baby takes about 100-ish days to grow to maturity, and it's already been at 30 days for a transplant. So I got another like 60 to 70 days. So I got a bunch of lettuce around it. I have 16 in total that I just planted in an entire ring. I got another sugar baby right there. And this bed, I got a green bean planted right there, which I just did all this today, which is why there's no germination. You guys get more and more of an update. And around it, I have, I have 3 things at a time. And then, I don't know what else I planted in here. Not spinach. I don't remember. I think I planted green beans. There's stuff in this bed. And then over there, in that bed, I have bunching onions and a cabbage. Just a singular one. Now, this is my original garden, which I need to clean up around it a little bit, but you know, that's a whole nother story. So I got lettuce, 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 lettuce. Now what I am gonna have to do is 1, thin these out, and then 2, if you can see right here, got like a bunch of these weeds in here that I gotta get rid of. So the benefit of doing the square foot gardening method is, so 1, it's all in a very tight and controlled space, and then 2, it allows for you to have a much easier time weeding because I'm mixing together the square foot gardening method and then I forget what his name is. Basically, it's no-till gardening method where basically you put cardboard down and in order to suppress everything, and then you allow the soil to just sit there. And it's supposed to compact the soil enough in order to hide and sort of suppress all the different weeds, but at the exact same time leave it pliable enough for the roots to go deep in. And, you know, just basically another way for me to not have to weed so much. So there's 4 lettuce. I got 2 buckets worth of onions. It's yellow onions, the fast-growing variety, so I actually have to look up when I have to harvest these guys. I'm not exactly sure. Right here, I believe these are, I'll be honest, I don't really know, but I haven't been taking care of them as much because they're kind of like in the back of my property, so you can see like all this stuff is, 1, it needs to be weeded a little bit, but 2, it's sort of like dry and whatnot. This was supposed to be white strawberries, but I accidentally got a frost that killed them, so no white strawberries. Over there, I believe, are cucumbers, which I'll probably have to thin out quite a bit, and they're taking a little longer to grow, so I'm not sure if I'll be able to harvest them this year. I have no clue right here, I forgot. Right over here, I think this bed's empty, actually. Aside from, I don't know what this is, to be honest. Like, at all. So, I don't know. And this is where I was originally going to plant all the sugar baby watermelons until I got that other plot over there. So, for the time being, that's not going to happen. I'm going to probably fit this with something else. The overall goal is for me to figure out the square foot gardening method and learn the process of it, go to basic training for National Guard, come back, and then start my local selling. But I just want to make sure that I can actually give quality farming material. So I want to make sure that I know exactly how to go about farming and getting fresh produce. But yeah, so that's a update of the farming for those of you guys who are curious. But also something I do want to show you guys is this. I actually have some Spanish basil that's growing really well. And actually, I didn't know this, but they're supposed to be annuals, but it's actually a perennial, because this is what I had from last year. And as you can see, it's just taking off. And ooh, it's actually starting to flower there. So we're just gonna take that off, because I don't want the flower, because then it ruins all the various spices. But I do, ooh, start to flower again over here. There we go. So yeah, I need to start using some of this, which I personally like it. I do wish I got a stronger variety, because it doesn't have enough of that flavor that I'm looking for. That's my prized possession. That's my oregano, which also is a perennial, which I didn't realize. That stuff is so good to go in like chicken, and which I eat a lot of chicken actually, and all that kind of stuff. So I'm really excited about that. And then I got some thyme that's growing out in the back. So yeah, I'm excited to get all these spices going. So that's an update on all the farming stuff that's going on right now. It's not really much of a farm. It's more like a backyard garden for the time being. But I do plan on possibly, after I get out of basic training, buying my own property to then be able to do this at a much larger scale. I'm just not sure yet, because I might be able to get away with doing it part-time at the side yard and not have to worry about it as much. But I don't know. We'll figure it out. As of right now, it looks like I'm possibly going to be buying property, which will be really cool and really exciting. And if you guys want to see that as well, I mean, just let me know. But yeah, so you guys have a good day, and thank you guys who wanted to see the little farming update. But I hope you guys have a fantastic day, all right? Ciao.